The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, said yesterday that no one should victimize the drug victims. So, can you react to that?
Yeah, he says don't stigmatize drug victims. Tinubu wants. I think it's left for Marwa, who is the head of Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the only minister or the only agency head that really performed during Buhari's tenure. Is a person of integrity. So I think we need to listen to what he has to say. He should not muzzle him into doing his job. He has been doing his job very well. Stigmatizing drug victims, I don't think it is the way to go. The way to go is that all the courts should be strengthened in order to convict drug addicts. When you start saying drug victim, is trying to show some kind of sympathy, trying to paint a scenario whereby these guys are being stigmatized, they are being pushed to limits that there's a propaganda around this drug war. No, there's no propaganda. Victims are different from people who are drug lords.
Is it indirectly endorsing the acts of uh, drug abuse or what? Based on his statement, because you know already that drug victims are one of the reasons why we have the rate of crime in Nigeria.
You know, when you want to defend the indefensible, when you need to hit the nail at the head, you start hitting somewhere else. The main issue that we need to look at is at those drug cartels, the drug laws, and our courts that handle these drug cases. This is the main issue. But you are looking at other areas so as to whip sentiment. Yeah, he's trying to, in a way, soften the law or soften the penalty on whoever that's involved in drug. When you look at it psychologically, I think he's supporting it in a way, trying to make sure that they don't look at these people as bad people. So don't stigmatize them. That's what he's saying. Don't look at them as bad people. And painting that picture shows where he stands in all this, knowing having accusation allegations on drug, having to hide documents, having to stampede court processes, having to lie on oath, despite the fact that overwhelming evidence of drug-related issues and criminality is on his head.
Now, you know that it is not just enough to sympathize with the victims of drug abuse and those who paddle such as a means of livelihood. And what is the government doing in terms of rehabilitation of those drug addicts? Because beyond mere calling for people not to stigmatize or victimize them, I think there is need for the government to take a proactive steps to re- rehabilitate these people. But in Nigeria, we don't have such facilities that could accommodate the number of youths who are getting more addicted. Not just those uh, drug dealers, I mean, drug heavyweights. Even the little boys of 15, 12, 18 indulge in such unholy acts, which is not encouraging.
Yes, the first step to take when fighting this drug war is not really looking at the victims. You're looking at those that are bringing in these drugs and those that are in charge and at the helm of affairs. That's where you start fighting. And when you talk about rehabilitation, drug rehabilitation, if you know what it takes to rehabilitate somebody, it's into millions. It's beyond the affordability of those guys you are calling that are on the streets that take these drugs. It's beyond the affordability. I think it is hypocrisy for someone calling for like don't stigmatize drug victims. It's hypocrisy in the highest order. Let's forget about this drug war. We have somebody who is sympathetic or has sympathy for drug addiction, fighting a drug war. We don't have health centers that will treat normal diseases. Not talk of rehabilitation centers that will now you treat victims. If you want to talk about victims, who is a victim? A victim, a drug victim, is somebody that really He never knew how he got into that drug taking, and somehow he just fell into it. But here, it is being propagated by the powers that be. It's been advertised by the powers that be. It's been encouraged. So nobody, I don't see anybody as a victim. They knowingly and openly, because of our weak institutions, because of our weak agencies, these guys know what they are doing. They are not victims. Don't call them victims. They know what they are doing, venturing into drug addiction.
And the market is moving. You can see even the security operatives knows some hideouts where these drugs are being padded and distributed. Yet most of them, unfortunately, inherit such patronize even the dealers. I mean the security operatives. So it becomes more or less impossible to fight these cartels. You see, and their business,
Yeah.
because it's a multi-billion naira business, and they wouldn't want to, of course, lose such a larger market. So to say, Nigeria is a potential market for the drug dealers, but it's rather unfortunate. Now, if the government cannot provide solution in terms of nibbling it at the board and checkmaiting the excesses, those people import it. The one you call the local one, ice, mkporo mmiri, you see, weed and all that, they are rampant. You can see people inhaling it in the public, and the police and other operatives, security operatives, will just looks as if they don't see anything. What exactly can the government do to show, of course, restore the confidence of the masses that they are really committed to this
Yeah, I want to
drug
I want to
fight?
take you back. You can't. There are some businesses that an ordinary person cannot get involved in, even though you have millions or billions, without the aid of a government institution, such as petrol bunkering, such as this drug dealing. You need to pass through the immigration, pass through the airports of different countries. It takes from one government to the other. So if you are saying what will government do, that should be trying to give the government a good name. What the government needs to redeem itself first of all these guys that are amongst them that are enforcing, because in Okera there's a place whereby it is popularly known as a place they sell drugs, and you see some officers going there to buy drugs. They know that these guys are selling hard drugs that are dealing with the lives of young persons. They go there. One day I saw an army buying drugs from one aboki. An army officer, police officer, they go there, they take it. Mobile officer, they go there, they take it. And you're expecting us to say that the government should do. What should be done is that our orientation agencies should be kept alive. That they should stop withdraw licenses of some of these companies that use some of these drugs, because some of these drugs are used in disguise of normal medicine that people take. They should withdraw licenses. There should be adverts, any advertorial that has to do with people smoking or taking Indian hemp, like all these are musical videos. They should look at it and censor such videos, because this is where people get their inspiration from.
You mean people should look at it and censor such videos while the government is making billions of dollars annually from such a proceed? Do you think the government can decisively contend with this?
The last time I granted an interview, I said I don't know why God gave birth to me, or why I was giving birth to in such a. I don't want to call this country a zoo, because if you put head here, no way. Put head here, no way. You don't know what to say again. But let's just say what is needed, what needs to be done. The government needs to have that political will. But before someone has a political will, they themselves, do they have? Can they come out clean? It takes somebody that knows that coming to equity must come to clean hands. They don't have clean hands, so can they solve the problem? That's the problem. That's the question. Can they solve the problem with their own antecedents?
The problem is that can they solve the problem? Of course, following this revelation, Buhari made submission that he could not put off the subsidy because he wanted the APC to win the election. What an irony! And how could he justify such a statement?
You wanted to ask the question, you paused because you were like, "What an irony!" Like we didn't remove subsidy because we wanted. Like I said, this is about politicians and about them and their families. No matter what happens in this system we find ourselves, they are not looking at the ordinary Nigerian or the masses. They are looking at themselves. Buhari has disgraced governance. Buhari has disgraced the North. I think he's one of the worst leaders that has come out from the North. Like I said, on a normal basis, if you look at competence, no Northerner, I repeat, no Northerner will have opportunity to rule this country. I'm not being ethnic or Northern phobic. I'm
No, I think. Do you mean no Northerner? By that passing a vote of no confidence, I think the Northerners who has the capacity and wherewithal has not been given the opportunity. I think that is what you want to say, drive home. But the unfortunate ones are the ones, of course, occupying the corridor of power.
let's say in the whole of North, if you are getting competent people, you might get with their population, you might get okay. Let's copy people that can lead. Let's say 1,000. When you come to the South, you get more than 20,000. If you bring them together and you put them up to a test that okay, you people should write this exam on leadership, the no Northerner will come from 1 to 1,000. That's what I'm saying. If it's about leadership, the best hands over the years, the best of the Northerners will not outwit the best of the Southerners. That's what I mean. Giving the Northern people opportunity, their own best in quotes, the best of their best in quotes, is just like stepping or removing some Southerners that are very, 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 very good, just to bring in a Northern best.
I
That's what I
think
mean.
to some extent I might agree with you, but if you're a Northerner, you have opportunity to argue this submission,
And the
and
comments,
let us know in the comment section. Let's know what exactly you feel concerning these issues. But the reality has been that the North have enjoyed comparative advantage in terms of
yeah.
quota system. You see, when you score even 40 in JAM, you will secure admission. You see, but that is not the case with the South. Could that have contributed to the passiveness in terms of intellectual prowess for the average Northerner?
Okay, there's a setback from the foundation of Northern hegemony and Northern heritage. The Northern leaders being my own pick in their leadership quality. I think they don't see far. Religion has blindfolded most of them. They have not really known what development is and liberalism is. Just what they think, and the kind of government that is being piloted in the north is monarchy or oligarchy. It does not help their system. The north needs to redeem itself, but you see, over the years, if a heritage, if a society, a people adopt a certain kind of lifestyle, it's very hard. Or ideology, it's very hard for them to live it.
And Sokoto being the seat of caliphate is considered to be the poorest of the poor of the states in Nigeria. And these are religious driven states. Is the seat of Islamic religion in the Nigerian states. So how could you relate poverty and religion? If religion could not solve the issue of poverty, even in the seat of caliphate, then what are they really missing?
Yari, that's contested for Senate presidency, he was being asked the question. I said, you come from one of the poorest states and you're a governor, that is Zamfara State, for 8 years and you did nothing. What are you going to replicate as a Senate president? He was now asked, telling the reporter that is he the only one that has come from Zamfara State. You can see someone that want to lead a nation. You understand? Now, religion, for me, religion, it is misinterpreted by selfish and myopic people who have opportunity to be at the top. Opportunity, not privilege, to be at the top. It doesn't mix. Religion and poverty does not mix, but it is the way they apply it that makes it one and the same. Religion is an access to God, and access to God is, the Bible says that going to the earth dominates, replenish, and all. So you need to dominate in every sphere of your life, replenish in every sphere of life. So that's what religion helps you. But in the interpretation of that religion, the living out, the action, the reaction from people who lead you is the problem. It is not religion. Religion is never the problem. It is those that practice religion and the leaders. Because of their selfishness, that is the problem. Islam is being practiced in another part of the world. Christianity is being practiced in another part of the world, but they do this differently.
Exactly, that is my own points of interest. Just in Saudi Arabia, most of Nigerians, of course, pilgrimage travel to Saudi, where they see the luxury of the average Saudi people who practice Islamic religion. But here is predominantly people who are fanatics, who are backwards and impoverished by the same religion they profess. So, do we have two religions in the world, or what exactly is the problem? Fundamentally, issue that the North has been living in denial.
Misinterpretation of what truth is, that is the problem. What the truth is being misinterpreted by ignominious fellows, by unscrupulous elements. You see, when we talk about corruption in Buhari's government, you see how they feign religion with their going to Mecca by praying every Friday, and the person that is praying every Friday is stealing billions. Is very their sultanic is going carrying one propaganda religious program or the other, and they will tell you that the Muslims in the south are not really Muslims. Why they are into all sort of criminality and corruption. See someone like Gumi, all sort of criminality and corruption. I think it is the misinterpretation of religion that's the problem we have in Africa.
Yeah, and who shall save them from this destruction becomes an endless rhetoric. And how will they, and how long will they continue to wallow in this thick darkness without any illumination? Well, that time will tell, and it behoves on the people to rise to the consciousness of the moment. Without any further ado, please kindly hit the subscription button, hit like, give us a thumbs up, and share the videos. Thank you so much for your time. Until we come your way next time, I remain Chigos Ndibo, the host anchor.